Hi, Julie Torrance here. So this is going to be a different kind of a video. It is not a tutorial. It is not a process video, but I have got so many questions that have come to me, sometimes through comments on my videos, sometimes through email, through direct messaging, through telephone calls, through all that kind of stuff. So I'm paging through my bead journal, and the last video I did before this was decorating pages, and I'm going to keep decorating pages as I talk you through some of what these questions are. So if you want a process video of what you see me doing, just go back one video. I'll link it. But in the meantime, I'm going to answer some of these questions as I work on my bead journal. So this is the page that we ended up with. So I'm just going to start on this page. Okay, so how old am I? I'm 65 years old, and I'm not ashamed to say it, and I think I don't mind answering that question simply because there are a lot of people that I take care of that I ask that question to. When you're a nurse, you commonly ask what the age is of people. So if I'm willing to ask the question, I feel like I need to be willing to answer the question. So there you have that. The next question, how long have I been on YouTube? I started on YouTube 1 year and 7 months ago as of now. And this is October of 2023. So that's how long I've been doing. And why did I decide to do a YouTube channel? Well, the first thing is art accessibility. I want art to be accessible to anyone who's interested. And classes can be very expensive. Supplies can be very expensive. And so with YouTube, the videos are free. And it also doesn't cost me to make the videos. I'm not having to do classes, which I have done. I've done classes in my home. I've done classes in public schools, but then not in public schools, but when you're doing it out of your home, you're either providing the supplies or you're asking people to buy and bring their own supplies, which we're back to being expensive. So I just try to create an atmosphere that a person can feel like it's doable for them. There are other platforms, but some of them, if you want to participate, you have to pay, Skillshare, things like that, whereas YouTube's free. So how did I get started? Well, the way I got started was by watching YouTube videos on how to make YouTube videos. And my setup is pretty simple. And as you know, if you follow my channel, I do very little editing because I'm just not familiar with the software. And I will go into more detail as to why I don't learn more editing, but right now, the bottom line is I just don't have time to set aside and study how to do more editing. But I started out by doing, well, the woman that I was watching who has a YouTube channel talked about an orbit. And an orbit is where you do one video a day for 365 days. You're putting up videos on your birthday, you're putting up videos on Christmas, and I'm not opposed to that, but I knew that wouldn't be something I could sustain. So what I did was, because of other videos like vidIQ and Think Media, they just recommend that you at least get started with a selection of videos so that a person can look at your channel and see several titles and not just necessarily one title. So I did a video a day, published a video a day every day for 30 days, so that within a short amount of time, I had 30 videos on my channel, which seemed like a good number. So then I went to a more manageable number, which is I put out about 2 to 3 videos a week. I really, really try for 3, but I don't always make that for various reasons, but I do try to get 3 videos out a week. So why did I decide to do a channel otherwise? And that's because here in the United States, we have something called Social Security, which is a retirement fund that the government sets up for us, such as that is. But that's what it is. And we contribute to that with every paycheck. And then when you reach a certain age, right now at 62, you could start collecting your Social Security. But if you do, that's the number you're going to get per month for the rest of your life. The longer you hold off and keep working, the better your monthly income will be for the rest of your life. So the next kind of landmark that they give you is, for me, it's 66 years and 8 months. Then you're considered your full retirement age. But if you want to keep working to 72 years old, then you're at your retirement like top. You can keep working, but you're never going to make any more per month than whatever that number is when you hit that 67. Okay, that looks good, but it needs a B or 2. So every year they give you a summary of where that number is if you decide to retire at what age. And right now, if I would go ahead and turn that service on and start collecting monthly checks, I would not have enough for living. I just wouldn't. The government has always said, make this part of your retirement, but don't expect it to be everything and anything. Well, many people have long retirement funds, but not everyone does. And so I have kind of a combination of the two. So right now, I am still working and plan to keep working, honestly, as long as I can. I mean, do I picture myself working to 72? Not really. But I'd like YouTube and the things that go along with that to supplement my income. And I'm not looking for thousands of dollars a month. I'm not looking for that. I'm not expecting that. But just more than what I would be getting if I just go on retirement on its own. You know what I mean? This needs a lot of fussy cutting, and I'm not going to fussy cut right now. Although this might be the perfect video for it, huh? Well, not this moment. I like this bird. So, yeah, I'm not looking, I'm looking for supplement, but not that YouTube is going to be, and everything that goes along with it, that's going to be the bulk of my income. I'm not expecting that. So we'll see. I'm still considered new. I have less than 1,000 subscribers, which is not uncommon for this type of instructional or educational video. But it's growing, and as long as the trajectory is up, I am patient. You need to be patient. Okay, so what is your job? That's another question people ask me quite often. Well, if you're still working, what do you do? I'm a nurse, which I've talked about in my YouTube channel. Well, that always brings the question, what kind of nurse? I'm what they're called a pediatric intensive care at home nurse. Many children leave the hospital, but they still need somebody at their side all the time. Often that is training parents, but parents too need to be able to make a living. So different insurances in the United States, usually when one insurance company does something, others follow suit. They will pay for 8 hours of nursing a day, 7 days a week, with the idea that you will be able to get some sleep. And then the other 16 hours a day, it's family that's taking care of their young ones. So that's the kind of nursing I do. Why don't I work in the hospital? I did. I worked in the hospital for many years, but I just decided to kind of branch out, specialize, that kind of thing. So that's what I do. So what has been my inspiration? When I first was introduced to YouTube, and that was years ago, I started watching Maremy Small Art and Jane Davenport. And then there was a woman named Tony Burt. And these are people that I liked what they did. And primarily it's art journaling. So I did bring an art. This is an art journal. Now this is, I just decided the first art journal I come across in my home, that's the one I'm going to show you. This is an altered book. Flowers for a Friend is the name of it. I've been working in this book for a couple years, and so I might have it upside down. No, I don't think so. So I glued pages together, and I created this art journal, because as you're learning art, how many walls can you cover? How many gifts can you give? That is your art. And with an art journal, as I said, I got this book from a thrift store and I just converted it, which people like Maremy Small Art talk about how to convert a book into an art journal. And I just have been working away. Now I have probably, 8 to 10 art journals, I would say. And you're seeing some of these that are done, some of these that are not done. Some of these are on videos. This one is on a video. So this has been, these are pages that I've glued together, but I haven't done anything wet. So there's an art journal. This is when I talk about an art journal, what I'm talking about. And I love art journaling, and I have videos about it, and I still intend to make videos on art journaling. But I would say those are the 3 that stand out the most in my mind as far as my inspiration to do, number one, to do videos at all, and then what to make videos about. I mentioned things like, what is the name of it now? I just said it. I'm reaching as I'm talking. There's a nice scrap. That'll work. So I think media is one of the sources for just like how to make a YouTube channel, and you know, everything from equipment and all of that kind of stuff. But the type of videos that these people, another one is vidIQ, they talk about making videos that is your passion. And art journaling, and particularly mixed media and paper art, that's been my thing for many, many years, since the 90s. And as I said, we're in 2023 right now as I make this video. I'm making a branch to put my little bird on. Is what I'm doing here. So so art, my passion, and I also was getting into it right in the midst of COVID, and that had kind of shut down my classes. I was doing art classes out of my home, but then we were all staying away from each other, and rightfully so. People, weren't too crazy about going anywhere. I mean, Michael's, Joann's, all these people that had classes in their stores dropped it. Again, we were doing what we were told to do at the time. And we didn't have a better plan, so that's what we did. So that's why I got into doing art journaling and mixed media on my YouTube channel. And that's where you're going to see me start if you go back 2 years, and you'll see that my videos have changed along the way, but my art has always changed along the way. I've never been stagnant. I've done jewelry making, I've done pottery, I had a potter's wheel, I had a kiln, did that for many years. Jewelry making, did I say that one? But I made, I liked making books. I had gotten some books from the library on book making and making your own journals. And I did that for a while, but at the time, I mean, just different circumstances in life, it didn't take off, I guess you could say. Okay, I think that can go like that. So that's how I got to where I am now, is just different art, different mediums, and the paper one really stuck. And then when the opportunities were showing themselves to make junk journals, then I really, it's kind of a natural progression from my art journals to junk journals. And it also satisfied my thought of accessibility, making journals from junk. So not all junk journals anymore are made of junk, but there are people that is their goal, and they do a great job of it. I would say right now, mine's kind of a combination of junk. I do use things like junk mail and magazine sheets and things like that. Magazine collage is one of the things I still love to do, and I do those in my art journal. So I guess that's that progression. When I was watching YouTube videos for the other thing that is my passion, and that's watercolor, I watched, and I still watch, Lindsay Wyrick, and she is on YouTube, The Frugal Crafter. I really enjoy her videos. She does a lot in watercolor, and she also does other painting, but she also does paper, and she does product reviews, which I love. And she's not cheap. It's not that she does cheap. It's the value for your money. And there's a big difference. But I appreciate, because again, that satisfies that making art accessible. You don't want people to waste their money if they decide to spend their money on art supplies. So if I recommend an art supply, I want it to be, as far as I know, the best value for the money. I also like watching Cece, and it's like Ceecee, watercolor artist extraordinaire. She does beautiful work, and she also creates very beautiful videos. I don't see her putting out as many videos as she used to. I think she has a larger Patreon following that she perhaps keeps track of. I know she's done commission work and has also just sold her art. So I haven't followed her recently. I can't tell you what she's doing right this minute, but she, I'm heading into a different stack of flowers. Cece is a lot to learn. You can learn a lot from her, and I appreciate her style. And she also, I wouldn't say she necessarily does a lot of product reviews, but she certainly explains the products she uses and why. So I like her. And then Becky Hilburn, I follow now. Nano Soup is her, was her channel name. Now I think it's just her name, Becky Hilburn. Watercolor is, but she's a comic artist. She does a lot of product reviews as well. She has a passion like I do for keeping art accessible. And I really, really like that. So I do follow her. And I appreciate the work that she does. So those are my YouTube go-tos. Then when it came to journaling, I came across Gail Agostinelli, and I really appreciate her videos and her style of art journaling. Carrie the Crafter came after Gail because Gail talks about him and his work. So per her recommendation, I went there. And let's see, who else? Well, Eddie Makes Art, but I was already doing journaling, making journals by that time, but he also has a different style. This is where it was through Carrie the Crafter that I got introduced to PM Artist Studios, and people have asked me why PM Artist Studios. PM Artist Studios, number one, making art accessible. They're a business that is run out of their home, which I like. They are edgy. Their digitals and their artwork and the things that they have, the foam stamps and stencils and masks, they are not like anything I had seen before, and honestly, that I've seen lately. And I really like their artistic flair. They're in my opinion, they're definitely mixed media. There's a lot of art journalers on there. When I say on there, they have a Facebook group, Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artists. There are a lot of other mixed media artists doing a lot of other things on that follow their channel and talk about their products. Collage artists, just all kinds. They have multiple lives. And the beauty of having lives is they answer your questions as they're using their products and other products. They don't just talk about their own products. They talk about a lot of other art products. And as they're using these products and things, they're teaching you how to use them. They're teaching you different styles, different color combinations, different textures, just very, very refreshing to me. I really enjoy what they do. I reached out to them with digitals and they accepted me, which I'm so grateful for as a designer. And I do make digitals for them. They licensed me. So that is great. Now, this bee looks to me again like he's going to go into war. He's too big for that bird. Okay, so, yeah, PM Artist Studios. The P is Patricia and the M is Mariah. It's a mother-daughter team, and Patricia taught art in schools for years. Very knowledgeable. Mariah, she doesn't really talk a lot about her background, her past. I believe it's in digital art though, and both of them do amazing, amazing work. But it's not your typical type of art necessarily. I like it. I like what they do. And I encourage you to go over there to their .com, pmartiststudios.com, and check out their videos, which is PM Artist Studios. I think you'll enjoy that a lot. Okay, so why am I not on Ko-fi? K-O-F-I. Why am I not on Patreon? Well, Patreon is something where artists like myself and other artists, I mentioned Cece is on Patreon. Gail Agostinelli has got a Patreon page. Becca Hilburn has Patreon. I'm not opposed to Patreon at all. It's where you pay at whatever level the artist, and there's other things there's other Patreons, but I'm just talking about the art related ones. You set a price or prices, different tiers, which will get you different things. And then there are often private videos, private or Facebook groups where you can be more one-on-one with the particular artist. And my whole thing about Patreon is that to click and go to Patreon, you're clicking away from YouTube. And once you send your YouTube channel followers off the YouTube platform, you exponentially increase the chances that they won't come back. And so I would rather stay with YouTube. It's kind of dance with the one who brought you. YouTube has memberships, and you can do the same things. You can have private chat groups, private YouTube, or private, I keep saying YouTube, private Facebook pages, things like that. You can have all that, but you can do it and have them look at maybe the private videos that you make for them, or the early access to videos. You can do that all and stay on the YouTube platform. And I like that. So that's why I have not gone with Patreon. Now, Ko-fi's kind of cool. You can have somebody buy you a cup of coffee, is what they say. But it is a way that someone can thank you, kind of a tip jar. But again, you can do that with YouTube. And I do have that set up where it's like a super thanks. And you can, if you feel like, yeah, I've been watching these videos for free and I'd like to help out the artist or whoever you're watching, that's one way that you can do that. And it's a good way. So I haven't talked a lot about it because I really don't feel like I'm to a point of being, I guess, good enough to warrant people paying me to watch a YouTube video. I just really haven't felt like that. No one has asked me about setting something like that up, but people have asked, and it's very kind, and I'm very grateful. People have asked me, how can I help you? How can I, what can I do? You know, and honestly, at this point, it's just what you've heard over and over again. Like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video if you feel like you know someone who would enjoy or benefit from the content. That's a big, big way. People ask me, how much money have I made on YouTube? None. Because I'm not monetized in that way. I know if you watch my channel, you will see ads. And that's because YouTube is putting ads everywhere. When you have your favorite YouTube person who's never had ads before, and all of a sudden you go to watch them and an ad pops up, YouTube has told us they're going to be doing that. So just because you're not monetized, that you can get AdSense is what it's called, where you can get money for people clicking on ads that are on your videos, they're still putting ads out there. YouTube still makes money from ads. And you know, where else can you go where as a creator, it's totally free and gets the numbers and gets the amount of exposure as you can get with YouTube. So that's why YouTube is my friend. That's where I'm at with that. Okay, turning the page. I did write down some of these questions. Oh, why am I not doing more? I've done some more YouTube shorts or TikTok or Reels. Well, the short platforms and, well, TikTok, for a number of reasons, I avoid. I don't have TikTok on my phone or on my computer, and I just know too many people that I know that work and have work phones and stuff, because of security issues and breaches and that kind of thing. They're not allowed to have TikTok. And I'm just like, you know, I think that's something I need to pay attention to. So I do not have TikTok. Reels on Facebook I have done. And also YouTube Shorts. I have a few out there. You need in the millions of watch time. I think it's hours, might be minutes. I don't know. It's in the millions. It's a big number to put towards the growing of your channel. I'm just not in that kind of a league. The other thing though, and the bigger one, is that it takes a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot of editing to come up with a quality product on either YouTube Shorts or the Reels on Facebook. So, and I'm just not, again, that it takes back to editing, and that's just not my strong point at all. So I just have not taken the time, and that's what it is. It's time to learn editing. But, you know, you've got to be able to speed up your videos. You've got to be able to take 2 and 3 separate videos, merge them together into one. I just don't really know exactly how to do all that yet. I plan to learn, but I plan to learn when my time is just divided up a little differently than it is right now. Okay, I like that flower corner. So that's why I don't do the shorts. It's editing, and it takes me as long to do a short video as it does a long video, and people just, you know, push past. So it's not for me right now. So what got me started in journals? I think that it was kind of a natural progression from art journaling to make journals that I personally can use and that other people can use and can enjoy. You don't have to hang a journal on the wall, and yet you can enjoy it. You can use it. It's a piece of art that has a function. People write all kinds of things and put pictures and keep track of prayer lists, books they've read, just day in and day out. You know, what surprised me today? What music did I listen to today? Just all those kinds of things. And I think that's valuable. Many times, and I have been in professional counseling. One of the things that was told to me and friends of mine who have also been in professional mental health counseling has been to start a journal. Well, you can go to the Dollar Tree and you can spend $1.25 and you can get a journal. It's paper. But I think that when you get something like I'm working on now that is going to have writing space, I think the incentive to do journaling is greater. At least it is for me. I find this more welcoming than just some ruled paper. Now, I'm not saying that if that's what you do, what you're doing is bad and what I'm doing is great. I'm not saying that. You need to do what works best for you. But I just think that having a beautiful piece of art that you can write in and that can sit wherever you want it to sit, at your bedside table or wherever, and can be pretty to look at, opened or closed, I think that's just a better incentive to get your journaling done. I think. I also think that if you're wanting maybe your family recipes or things like that to be used by people in years to come, I think that having it in a journal like this, a book like this, could also be, just cheerful and fun. Don't you think? I do. This is a big bee. And I've been looking at these big bees for a while. And I'm thinking I want a big flower with a big bee. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. No more processing. So that's why I got into journaling. Again, just to kind of rehash, I think it's a natural progression for me from art journaling, and I can share what I make with others, and it's got a purpose. When I did pottery, I didn't make vases. Nothing wrong with making vases. I made mugs. I made containers for holding things, like a soup terrain versus a sculpture. Nothing wrong with making a sculpture. Please don't misunderstand. But I've just always been more of a functional art rather than an art piece that you just admire from afar. That's just me, but it's just been my style. I liked jewelry because it was art you could wear. I like art journaling because it's art that you can write in and keep. And if you say, well, no one writes anymore, it's all on the keyboard, print it up and stick it in. No problem. Do it. Just do it. If you need to journal, and frankly, I think we all can benefit from journaling, be it journaling your trip, maybe a family vacation. I made a small journal recently that I figured that a family that's taking their children out trick-or-treating could put the little pictures and the little memories in there, and it would be fun and nice. Well, I kind of missed that leaf. That's okay. Now, what's the next question? Oh, how much do I sell my journals for? I have not sold any of my journals. Why? I don't feel like I have reached that level of professional edge. I don't think that your artwork or any art needs to be perfect, but I think there should be kind of a finished quality that I just haven't achieved yet. And so I have been really with you on the ride with me, which I appreciate so much. I've been just kind of practicing, and eventually I will be selling my journals, but I've just been giving them away. I've made them with people in, certain people in mind, like my gardening journal that I made out of a paper bag. I gave that to my daughter-in-law. My daughter-in-law is an avid gardener, and she really works her garden. And I noticed, though, that she said, well, I moved this bush from here to here because it wasn't blooming. But then she'll say, but was that this year? Was that last year? Well, I think that's valuable information to her, maybe to my grandson, if he becomes, totally interested in gardening, and for him in years to come to look at what did mom do in her garden this year or that year. When if you end up with like a Dutch elm disease or something and what you did to get rid of it, I mean, that's valuable information. So yeah, she can take pictures now. It's so easy to take pictures and print them up and just put them in your gardening journal or whatever journal you have. I like those 2 pages. Okay, so I haven't sold any yet. I think that to ask somebody how much they're selling their journals for, I think that many times the reasons why people are asking are innocent enough. And, I'm not saying, that's really horrible that you did that. But it's kind of like asking somebody, how much money did they make? And, I know that I learned a long time ago, a farmer said, when you ask a farmer how many acres, that's like asking him, how much do you make for your work? And it's kind of a personal thing. I guess it depends on how much you know them. I'm not put off or insulted when people ask me that, but just beware when you ask that question, what it is you're really asking. And not everyone is going to feel as comfortable disclosing that information. If you're selling on Etsy, there are ways that people can get around by looking at something that you've sold. You can Google it and you can see, and it can show you at what price an item was sold at. But I don't know, I feel like that's looking into someone's purse, Yeah, maybe you can do it. And it's, is it against the law? I don't know. It's not something I would do. If someone wants me to know how much they sold a journal for, they'll tell me. But again, if you want to ask me, that's an easy question to answer right now. How will I feel later? I don't know. If you're selling journals and or trying to get started, I might have a different feeling. If you maybe made an offer and it didn't go through and you're interested for what did it go through for? I mean, I guess I would just need to know the whole circumstances. But as it stands, it's not a question I need to deal with. Let's see. Merchandise, yes. I am interested in looking at merchandise. Now, YouTube has a way that you can do merchandise, but I don't think I can do that yet. I think I have to get my 1,000 subscribers before I can create a merchant store on YouTube. But I could go to, Redbubble or some of these other print. I don't know. It used to be Teesprings. Now I know that they have a different name. You can do a kind of a print on demand using Amazon. But at this point, again, number one, I don't really know that I have the time to devote to it. I would need to study it more to understand what it's all about. So I do plan, and I would like to. I need to learn how to prepare my art and make it ready to turn into a clothing design type of thing. I just don't know. I know that they talk about the specifications if you want to sell your things on their platform. And I don't know that I know that I don't know how to do all that yet. I don't have, things like Photoshop, and even if I did, I used Photoshop years ago, but I know it's changed a lot. I could learn it, and I'm not afraid to learn it. Again, it's just time right now. But merchandise is something that's on my radar just not quite yet. Why digitals now? Well, for years, I did not have a printer. And if you're going to use digitals, you need to have a printer, and I didn't have one. So that's why I was making my own art by using watercolors, and I used a thinner, as thin as I could get, but still have it hold up with watercolor, which was primarily mixed media paper. And I made my own art, and then I cut it out and I glued it in my journals and in my art journals and things like that. But I did get a printer, and so now I can print digital art and I enjoy it. But the other thing that I learned by printing out, well, no, before that, I need to shout out again PM Artist Studios. I won a prize, and that prize had from them some of their digital art that they had used. I mean, that it was a package of like kind of scraps, and then also bits of their art that was done with their stencils, gel printing, things like that, other papers that they had used. And I mean, it was fantastic. It was a wonderful little group of art things. And when I say scraps, I almost feel like they sent me garbage. And no, I don't want it. Very valuable bits of paper, and then expensive papers and beautiful artwork. But having that all in a bag, all in a package, helped me so much when I was getting started. I had already made 1 or 2 journals on my own. I wasn't really very satisfied with them, and I really didn't feel like I had direction. And that gave me a topic, a direction, and I made one of the first journals that I felt was worthy of leaving my home. And I sent it to them as a thank you for having sent me the little prize that I won. So that was what got me really inspired. And I had been saving up a long time for a printer. And so the timing was right that I could afford one, and I got a journal. So, you know, you say afford one, they're not that expensive. Well, the kind of printer I wanted is a little more expensive. I wanted a laser jet. And the reason why I wanted a laser jet is because I am very mixed media. I use spray inks, I use watercolor, I use acrylics, I use other wet mediums. And I did not want my digitals to suffer because of these wet mediums. And if you're using I don't want to say just, but if you're using a inkjet printer, if that ink gets wet, why would our journals ever get wet? Once they're done, I wouldn't think that would be a problem, but while you're making it, it could. So that's what I got. So that's going to bring the question, what kind of printer did you get? So I wrote that down. It's an HP Color Laser Jet Pro M283 FDW. And I did want a printer that had a scanner, because I knew I was going to be eventually Redbubble or something like that, scanning artwork that I could turn into merchandise. But also I wanted to create my own line of digitals, because I really liked using my art, and I thought others may like it too. And as it turns out, they have. So I'm really grateful for that. Okay, this needs a bee. I think that's pretty. And it's different. So here, a bee. And it could be a bigger bee. Sure. Okay. So that's my why digitals and why digitals now kind of a thing. Why am I not on Etsy? Etsy is a fabulous, and I mean that sincerely, it's a fabulous way to sell your art. There are people who that's the only way they buy, is because they want to support home businesses, the individual artists, rather than large corporations. And I really appreciate that. Etsy has made being able to sell arts and crafts and those supplies that go along with it, and made it an affordable venue. And it is affordable. Yes, there are fees and things that you pay. But for instance, recently I bought a digital off of Etsy, and I had just put in basically what I was looking for, and it brought me directly to a brand new Etsy person who only had one digital available, but that digital was what I was looking for, and I bought it. And the artist got a hold of me right away and thanked me, which is, you'll find that on Etsy, they do that, but explained to me that, that's her only art up there, and how long she had been and this and that. So it was a very interesting conversation, but I was so happy to be able to help her. But my point is, Etsy pulled somebody brand new up front for me to get to know. So that doesn't answer the question, why not me? Well, for digitals, I am licensed through PM Artist Studios, and I want to stay exclusively there for a lot of reasons. But also, when it comes to like selling my journals and things, Etsy has a lot of rules. They're not bad rules, but with things like shipping and such. And right now, while I'm working to meet their goals, to meet their expectations, I'm just afraid I might not be able to ship fast enough, or, things like that. I know that people who have been doing this for years are still not shipping across the world. They're sticking with the continental US because shipping has been such an issue. So I'm just not ready. I guess I can, if you're not ready, you can come up with 1,000 excuses. I guess the bottom line is I'm just not ready. Will I ever be on Etsy? I don't know. I like coffee. I like the way that is set up. I feel like you're more autonomous with that. So I think that may be the way that I go. But things can change, week to week, moment to moment. So I don't know. And I'm not having more knowledge or thought about it, and I'm just not sharing it. I sincerely, I don't know. So we'll see. We shall see. Okay, well, I'm wrapping up the last page that I was planning on working on. I hope that this answered some questions. I hope I haven't offended anyone. It wasn't my intention. If you like my art, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. It does help a lot. And I encourage you to reach out to me. If you want my email address, just ask me in the comments and I will share it with you. If you have questions that you just would rather not be really public, that's fine. You could also find me, Julie Ann Torrens, on Facebook, and I have Facebook Messenger, so you can look for me there, whatever way works for you. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. Bring me your questions. I look forward to seeing you in another video. Bye now.